Hello, my name is Alexis Wiley, and I'll be giving a TED lecture on seasonal affective disorder, which is also known as SAD, as well as light therapy and its relevance in the United States Navy. Now, before diving into my proposal of the research on light therapy, let's first take a moment to just consider light. Going outside on a clear blue sky day, we'll receive approximately 5,000 lux of light, and lux is just a scientific measurement of light. Meanwhile, being indoors with normal indoor lighting, we only receive about 100 lux. And as far back to when we were little kids, you always heard your parents say, go outside and play, get some vitamin D. Now we can kind of break that down and understand why it's important. Moving into seasonal affective disorder. So seasonal affective disorder is a health problem known commonly as seasonal depression. Most commonly, it occurs in people during the winter when they aren't outside very often and are receiving little health benefits from indoor lighting. As you can imagine, this is more prevalent in places that are a little more gloomy, further from the equator, longer winters, shorter days, less sunlight in the wintertime. However, there is a rare instance of seasonal affective disorder in which people experience summer depression, but that's much less common to see. So some of the symptoms of SAD are listed on this slide here. As you can see, SAD causes people to generally lose interest in being active, causes them to be unhappy, and ultimately affects their daily lives in a negative way. One of the first major researchers on SAD was Dr. Alfred J. Louis. He is now the vice chair of the Department of Psychiatry at the Oregon Health and Science University. But in 1980, he and his team performed a case study on 29 bipolar patients who experienced major mood shifts by season. He recorded their symptoms, and you can see them all on the table, very similar to the previous slide, listing the symptoms of SAD. So Dr. Louis also made a major breakthrough by confirming that light does in fact affect the physiology of the human brain. It does so by regulating the release of melatonin by the pineal gland in the brain, and as you can see from the image shown on the screen, that the pineal gland is a small endocrine gland located in the middle of the brain. So now you may ask, how does this relate to my research proposal? Well, one common civilian solution to SAD is taking antidepressants. In the military, however, that's not allowed. So we seek other solutions. This is where light therapy comes in. I want to see if implementing light therapy on board U.S. ships, and specifically submarines, where the sailors do not see the sun for months at a time, will help with the overall efficiency of the boats. Light therapy comes in the form of light boxes, vision lamps, and so on. So they also even have visors that you can wear that provide light therapy. So most people will sit under the light, giving off anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 lux for approximately 30 minutes in the morning. The morning time works best as it simulates dawn, and that helps to regulate your circadian rhythm. Now, when receiving the light therapy, you shouldn't be just staring directly at the light. This could be harmful to your eyes, but instead spending the time reading, catching up on work, eating and talking on the phone, like the woman in the picture, etc. The effects are said to last approximately 3 to 7 days, depending on the person, but there isn't really a required prescription needed for light therapy. As of now, the Food and Drug Administration has not ruled light therapy as a medication, so that's why you don't need a prescription as it is. Now, getting into my actual research proposal, I will be conducting a multi-year observation phase, followed by a trial phase, and finally an analysis phase. So like this graph that you can see, which is from a Canadian randomized trial of light therapy versus antidepressants, I will have the crew members of the boats diagnosed for SAD pre, post, and during deployment for a number of deployment cycles. This graph specifically uses the 24-item Hamilton Depression Rating Scale. My research will use something similar. Basically, this will give us a basis for how prevalent SAD really is aboard the boats. Um, We'll also have to get some sort of permission from the White House or like the Chief of Naval Operations so that the sailors don't lose their jobs for being diagnosed with depression. This way our data will be fully accurate and people won't want to lie on our test. The diagnostic test, like I said, includes psychological evaluation, lab tests, and a physical exam. Next, we will randomly install light boxes and regiment the usage by the crew members aboard those boats. So both the submarines with and without the light boxes will continue to be observed as in the observation phase, and we'll be tracking the depression rates just as we did in the first phase. Now, the Navy has a year-long evaluation in which the winning ship wins the Battle Effectiveness Award. This was previously called the Battle Efficiency Award and has recently been changed. This award recognizes sustained superior performance in an operation environment, which would be a great way to test whether the improved morale or decreased depression rates aboard the ships with light therapy actually affects the work on the sailors. On the whole, I'm very excited for this research because it can help not only the United States Navy, but people all around the world who are suffering from seasonal affective disorder. I hope that my research inspires others to further research in light therapy, and I hope it decreases the amount of antidepressant drugs that are prescribed across the world for seasonal depression.